Hello, it is Shay Madeline here, and happy Friday. If you are new around here, I am an artist and a hobbyist who likes to just make little videos about the kinds of things that I get up to, whether it's new hobbies I'm starting or just any type of art project. So I hope you enjoy that and decide to stick around. And college did just finish up the other day, so now I should have a ton more time to work on both art, hobbies, and YouTube. And also, I should hopefully finally get onto a consistent posting schedule where I post every single Friday without fail. And lately, I've really been trying to focus on the more whimsical side of my personality because I think that that just adds so much to me and to my life, and I think it just makes it much more enjoyable. So I'm going to really try documenting that more with my YouTube channel, and I hope that's interesting to you guys and maybe even inspires you to get creative and just take advantage of those little whimsical moments in your own life. Today, though, is just a standard art focused video. I'm going to be doing part 2 to that little series I started where I'm recreating drawings I made as a child with my new set of skills that I've developed over the years of creating art. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a shorter one, so let's go ahead and get started. The drawing that I am choosing to recreate today is one of a German Shepherd that I drew when I was, I think, in 4th grade. I had read a series called, I believe it was called Dogs of the Drowned City. It's like a short trilogy about these dogs that are like abandoned or left behind in the case of a tsunami that happened in a town. So it kind of just like follows them and how they survive and work together as a pack during this hardship. Now, as someone who has always loved German Shepherds, I of course really loved this story. So I decided to draw one of the like covers of the book. I think it was the 3rd book that I decided to recreate. And I didn't do an awesome job at the time. I would say it's fine for like the age I was, and I was happy with it at the time. But I think it's about time for me to redo it. Now, during the planning phases for recreating this piece, I originally thought I wanted to make this digitally because I thought I would be able to get a much better piece, but I decided that while I might not be able to get as strong as a piece of art, I wanted to create it using traditional methods. As you've seen in some of my most recent videos, I have recently acquired a pretty large set of alcohol markers, and I just think that if I don't use them often, I will just kind of forget that they exist and it'll be a waste of money, and also honestly just a waste of materials that I really want to get good at using. So for those reasons, I decided to use alcohol markers and paper to create this piece. So to begin this process, I did do some thumbnail sketches in my sketchbook, which I'll show you right here. I also used it as a place to test out the colors that I wanted to use for the piece, and then I went ahead and I sketched it right onto a piece of paper. So the first time that I tried to draw this dog, I did just try to copy exactly what I saw on the front of the page of the 3rd book. And because of that, I'm honestly going to kind of do this a similar way. Usually when I do drawings, I try to like change up the poses to really make it my own drawing. But I wanted to kind of be true to my 4th grade self. So in order to achieve that, I really am not going to change much about this. I'm not going to change the pose, I'm not going to try to change the color scheme at all. I'm just going to zoom in the picture per se so I can focus on the face a little bit more and just do my best to recreate it using this new medium that I'm using. And that medium, of course, would be the alcohol markers. Now, just as a bit of a disclaimer, and you're allowed to disagree with my opinion, of course, I honestly am kind of disappointed with how this drawing turned out. I think I rushed it a little bit because I didn't really know what I was doing. I haven't drawn fur before, besides that like very simple version of fur that I drew in one of my previous drawings that you can see. I hadn't tried to make any like actual complex fur yet though, and I feel like I probably should have watched a video on how to do that and achieve that with alcohol markers before I jumped into this, because I am just not very happy with the finished results. I do think that it's better, but it's partially just because it has color and the original drawing did not. But you'll have to tell me if you agree when you see it at the end of the video. Now to make this more interesting, I tried changing up the camera angle for one of the clips that I recorded, and you can't really see much of what I'm doing, and it's kind of a weird angle. It's really hard because I don't have a tripod or anything, so when I try to record for YouTube, I just don't have a good way to get good angles, which is why a lot of this video is just recorded like upside down, almost like you're like sitting across from me watching me draw. I'm hoping in the future that I can invest in some sort of recording setup because right now it's just kind of difficult. That being said, thank you for watching my videos, even though they're not the best quality as of now. I am really trying to become better at recording and editing, but I really am just still figuring it out, so please bear with me while I am in the process of doing that. I hope that over the summer I will get lots better. As you can see though, right now in the piece I am going through and I decided to just lay down a blank layer of like a tan color just as my base color for the whole entire piece. And I am using the chisel head for this, and I kind of noticed that when I am using alcohol markers, at least this brand, that whenever I use like the chisel side of the marker, I really struggle to get the ink to blend, and I don't know if that's just that side of the marker always kind of works that way, or if it's just the way I am using it personally. But I feel like even in the final piece of this drawing, you can tell like the directions that I went through with the chisel marker. And I do know that you can like change the directions and like saturate the paper, and it's supposed to help with that. But I had struggled with it on that Pikachu drawing I did too. So I don't know if it's just this set or all alcohol markers do that. I thought that they were supposed to be really like good at blending into each other and getting rid of those lines and streaks. So let me know if you have any tips for how to fix that for my future drawings. Okay, so now back to what I consider to be the better angle of the two in this video. As you can see, I do have my sketchbook right next to me so that I can go ahead and test out the colors as I go. At this point in the drawing, I did not do what I usually do when I'm coloring something. Like, I did not go through and pick out all the markers that I wanted to use for like a specific section before I continued actually laying down the markers. And I think that really hurt me in this because I just didn't have the best colors for the type of blends and what I needed for the overall color scheme. And that is kind of a mistake that I make throughout the entire art piece. For the darker areas of the fur, I went through first with kind of like a medium brown. So it's not very dark, at least compared to the other browns I choose later. So it's just kind of a base layer, so I can go through and mark exactly where I want it to be dark, and then I can differentiate between the dark and the light pretty easily that way. After I finished outlining exactly where I wanted it to be dark and where I wanted it to be light, I could pretty easily go in and just lay down a base color too, so then all the fur would have a color that it could sit on top of. And now you can see I'm going in with a darker brown to go and add in some shadows. Now, this is the part of the piece where I think I really kind of start to mess up because, like I said before, I don't have a plan for the colors, I don't have a plan for how to actually shade fur, and I just overall don't have a plan for how I'm going to do this piece. And I think, like I said before, that lack of planning is really what hurt me. But now, one positive that I've gained from this experience is now I know in the future I really need to go through and I need to, one, practice how to actually draw fur before I commit to the final piece, and two, I need to actually spend more time preparing before I just jump blindly into my art so that I can make the best thing possible, because I don't even really know what to do with this piece now because I don't enjoy it. And realistically, I'm probably just going to end up putting it in a folder somewhere so I can reference it in the future as like a what not to do situation. But again, that's why pieces like this are so important for me as an artist, because I really have spent so much of the past, like 2 years really, only doing digital art, and now finally getting back in touch with physical, traditional style art, I think is really just going to help me grow as an artist as I remember how to work with those type of mediums and as I develop new techniques that I can hopefully transition between both the digital art landscape and the physical art that I create. But now all that I have left to do is just do the rendering for this piece, so I'm going to sit back and just let you guys watch that process. Well, here's the final drawing. I just can't help but feel like it looks like something that I actually would have drawn in fourth grade and not something that I drew as a 22-year-old woman that is just about done with college. So that's my biggest disappointment with the piece, is that I don't know if it actually is what I would consider an improvement for the time that I drew the previous drawing. I think the only reason why it even is considered an improvement by myself is the fact that it has color. But overall, I just don't like it. I really hate the eyes, especially. But I'm out of time to make anything else for this week's video, so I'm really sorry that this is what I'm leaving you with. I hope despite it being kind of ugly that you still enjoyed today's video, and I really hope to see you next week where I have a really exciting video actually in my opinion that I'm very excited to put together for you guys. So this is goodbye for today and I'll see you around.